year 2006 was for the Georgia Gym Dogs, who finished the season undefeated and captured their second consecutive national championship. The Gym Dogs enter this season ranked #1 and eyeing a third consecutive national title. NCAA all-around bars and beam champion Courtney Kupets returns, along with a group of outstanding gymnasts who captured 33 All-American titles in 2006. Tonight will be their first test as Georgia takes on the reigning Pac-10 champions from Stanford next. Gymnastics USA with Shannon Miller takes you to the campus of the University of Georgia and inside Stegeman Arena. Close to 10,000 fans of gymnastics will watch their #1 ranked Georgia Gym Dogs take on the challengers from the West Coast, the #8 ranked nationally Stanford Cardinal. Hello, everyone. I'm Lou Tilley, along with our star, Shannon Miller. Pleased to bring you this dual meet head-to-head at the start of a new season. And this Georgia program is really something to watch.
They are. This is an incredible program that Suzanne Yakulin has put together. 9,000 people in the stands for college competition, which is tremendous. And we have some great athletes competing tonight.
They are so deep with 17 scholarship athletes, including a pair of Olympians, topped by Courtney Kupets, perhaps.
Courtney Kupets, Courtney McCool is also the incoming freshman Olympian. Courtney Kupets, however, she entered Georgia coming right off of the 2004 Olympic Games, earning a silver medal with the team and a bronze on uneven bars. She didn't slow down. Once she got to Georgia, she went to the NCAA title and won the all-around, helped lead the team to their second consecutive title, and now she's looking for a third.
Now, Stanford has to compete for Western supremacy with the likes of UCLA and Utah, but Tabitha Yim and some of her competitors are right on the edge, perhaps.
Absolutely. They had a rough season last year, but Tabitha really came through individually, competing at NCAAs, earning third on the floor exercise and 9th the bars and 8th in the all-around. And right now, she's really looking for an NCAA title in the team competition. They're hungry, and they're really looking to show what they're made of.
This is a great test for them to start the season. Of course, for the Georgia Gym Dogs, they've been there before, as they say. They've won 2 consecutive national titles, and they've absolutely dominated the very tough Southeastern Conference in the last few years under their coach, Suzanne Yakulin. You take a look at what she has accomplished here in over 20 years at Georgia, and is one of the great stories in all of intercollegiate athletics, let alone gymnastics. She's gunning for her 3rd consecutive national title, and here's what she thinks about the year ahead.
Some of our best years and most successful years, I feel, as a coach, were years that we didn't necessarily win the national title. And every team presents different challenges. And just because we have everyone returning and 6 freshmen doesn't automatically, mean that it's a national championship title for us. I mean, it's all relative to injuries and health, and also how good everyone else is in the country on any given year.
Now, what about Stanford, Shannon? Kristen Smith in her 6th season there, and she's, as I mentioned earlier, competing against the likes of UCLA and Utah out west. Is her program on the rise?
I really think it is. I know they had a rough season last year, but I think that really makes you hungry. It makes you want to prove yourself, and they have really gotten a big competition ahead of them, and looking for a good year. Really
a great test for them, not only against perhaps the giant of gymnastics in the Gym Dogs, but in front of almost 10,000 rabid fans. This is a scene unlike many that you'll see in gymnastics, and we hope you enjoy it. When we come right back, Gymnastics USA with Shannon Miller will get right to the action as Georgia takes on Stanford. Stay with us. Welcome back. Head-to-head from Stegeman Coliseum in Athens, Georgia. The Stanford Cardinal challenging really the big dog, the Georgia Gym Dogs, #1 ranked in all of America. Welcome back along with Shannon Miller. I'm Lou Tilley, and I know all the fans of gymnastics look forward to Shannon's inside scoop, and it directly relates to the season ahead for Georgia.
Scoop is presented by Inside Gymnastics. Log on today to subscribe.
In today's Inside Edition, we take a look as the Georgia Gym Dogs are focused on a three-peat. Now, the last team to win 3 consecutive NCAA titles was Utah. They actually won 5 titles back from 1982 to 1986, and Georgia just missed a three-peat in 2000 when UCLA took the title that year. But this year, they are poised to make a comeback, prove that they deserve that 3.
Well, the University of Georgia starts out the season ranked number 1, and why not? They're coming off an NCAA championship, and they won it as well the year before. And talk about dominance in this really tough conference. It's almost like SEC football when we watch these head-to-head meets here from Stegman Arena on the campus of the University of Georgia. And just like football, here are the starting lineups in the head-to-head. This is kind of fun because we'll watch the competition directly. One team on one event, the other on the second, and back and forth they go, and we'll be able to keep track of the score as the meet develops. For the Gym Dogs on the vault, there you have their starting 6 and 5 scores will count. For Stanford, they will begin on the bars, and it's their full 6 as well, including Tabitha Yim, their best all-around performer, and Tricase, of course, who is excellent on this event as well. So here we go, head-to-head, Georgia versus Stanford. And up first, Megan Doolin on the vault. She's a junior, 5'4".
And this is the only event she is competing tonight, so she needs to stick well. Nice high Yurchenko full, only a small hop on the landing. That should score very well. It's a great way to start off the competition. Right here, she gets a pretty decent block off the horse. Nice legs together in the air, and nice finish.
So Doolin scoring 9.850 to start it off for the Bulldogs, as Shannon correctly called. This is Kelly Fee Bars now for Stanford. Kelly Fee on the bars. She's a sophomore. How about the pressure? You know your opponent's posted 9.850. You know the score you've got a gun for here.
Absolutely. In these dual competitions, it's difficult because you are seeing those other scores, and there's going to be some high scores tonight. So far, this is a tremendous bar routine. Very little deductions. Nice leg position, nice extension through the bottom. Ending with a swing, half turn, double front. And once again, a good way to start the competition with a nice solid routine.
Kelly Fee from Stanford scores 9.825. So already you can see a 0.25 advantage to Georgia if you're watching this head-to-head. And now back to the vault. And Marcia Newby, someone that we've seen often here on our Gymnastics USA telecasts from Virginia Beach on the vault.
And she's competing a different vault, a Yurchenko. She'll block off the horse, do a half turn and a front layout off. Nice high block.
And one of the taller gymnasts in the field at 5'7", 9.875 is her score on the vault. Now for Stanford, back to the bars, Nicole Urata, a 5'2" freshman.
Small little leg break right there. Good stall to work on the low bar, though.
And you can hear like the only cheers out of 10,000 people are those 15 collected right behind her Stanford teammates.
Oh, and that was a nice double layout, a good position in the air. She kept a nice straight body throughout, just didn't have enough momentum to pull it all the way around, ends up a little bit short.
And that stumble at the end hurts her, a score of just 9.350 on the bars. So Kelly Erickson now for the strong Georgia team on the vault.
Nice big Yurchenko full. Again, when you're in this type of competition, they're not making really any mistakes in the air. Legs are together, tight form. It's just those steps on the landing that are going to get them. And this will definitely score high because it was only a tiny step on the landing.
You can see the packed house in the background loving their Gym Dogs. As we take a break, we'll come back, update the score, and continue with more as Stanford challenges the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. campus of the University of Georgia for the season opener, head-to-head with the Stanford Cardinal. And for Stanford, performing on the bars here in the first rotation, Carly Janiga. Bars versus vault. Where do the high scores typically come from in these two events?
Well, you're probably going to see higher scores on vault, typically because there's less deduction. It's so quick. There's very little to see. We see a lot more in slow motion than the judges actually see in the air. Carly's a tremendous athlete. Beautiful double layout finish. This is a very nice, solid bar routine. She keeps good form throughout. There's a nice Shapachnikova up to a high bar. We want to watch for these big release moves and for that final dismount.
9.8 for Carly Janiga on the bars, and we're competing in the first round or the first rotation, so Georgia is on the vault. And this is Ashley Kupets.
Now, Ashley does a different vault. She'll do Yurchenko, half turn, front pike off. Huge vault. She gets lots of distance. You can see she almost lands at the end of the mat, but it's a very difficult vault to stick. You're moving forward. You've got all that momentum going.
She almost landed in the first row. And Suzanne Jokelen talking with her, maybe a little bit overexcited here. In her first event of a new season, the Olympian, we'll be talking more about her, a 9.825 in her first event on the vault. And back to Stanford on the bars. This is Heather Purnell.
Heather was a member of the 2004 Canadian Olympic team, so a lot of Olympians competing here tonight for both teams. Nice blind change full, right to a ginger.
That's kind of nice. They go from the Olympics and then go back to or go on to compete in the NCAAs and collegiate competition.
It really is a great opportunity for not only Olympians, but for any elite athletes, level 10, level 9 athletes that can get a full scholarship to some of these great schools and continue to do what they love.
And thus you see the great improvement in women's gymnastics and NCAA competition, 9.750 for the Canadian Olympian. Now on the vault, Katie Heenan for the Gym Dogs.
Katie Heenan, great vaulter. Competing Yurchenko full and nails the landing. Very nice. That's going to be a big score.
And you can see the team knows it. Giving her some big props. 9.925 for Katie Heenan on the vault.
There were virtually no deductions on that vault.
And our first look at the Stanford All-American Tabitha Yim, the all-around champion in the Pac-10 championships a year ago.
Tabitha has really stepped up as a leader for this team. They have no seniors on the Stanford team this year, but are really looking to make a comeback from last year's disappointing season.
Did not make it to the NCAAs, the Super Six, a year ago. They were there in 2004. Finished third.
Full pirouette to a ginger. They were packing these bar routines with some good release moves, finishing up with a nice high double tuck dismount. Not the most difficult dismount. But again, it is early in the season, so these athletes are trying out new skills or trying to get their routines underway after the Christmas holiday.
9.875 for the leader of the Stanford team. And back to Georgia from Grapevine, Texas, Tiffany Tolnay.
Big vault. Yurchenko 1.5, the most difficult vault being competed in this competition. Round off onto the board. 1.5 twists off. Perfect form in the air, legs glued together. Very nice.
9.875, rather 9.825. And now Liz Tracaz on the bars for Stanford.
Liz is known as a vaulter, but she is tremendous on uneven bars. She should be one of those athletes that is definitely at the NCAAs on this event.
The last competitor in this first rotation, or in the first of our 4 events in women's gymnastics.
Gorgeous double layout. That was a huge routine. And you know, if you can be powerful on uneven bars, I've never really seen it, but this girl is powerful. Look at the height she gets on that reverse hecht. Here's a beautiful double layout. First flip is above the high bar.
What a way to bring it home for the Stanford Cardinal, a score of 9.925. We'll recap the first rotation and update you on the scores when we come back to Georgia. All those fans of the Georgia Gymnogs and women's gymnastics, they are the national championships. As we go to the second rotation, the second event, Stanford will flip-flop and go to the vault, and these are the athletes they'll send out there in this round, while Georgia will go over to the bars with Coupettes, the All-American and Olympian, and Marcia Newby and the rest of their lineup. And we're underway in the second rotation. Heather Purdell for Stanford.
Again, we're seeing that Yurchenko full has kind of become a standard in the college ranks. And see a tiny leg split as she gets onto the horse. The judges are going to take notice of that.
And Marcia Newby of Virginia Beach in the Excalibur Club, an athlete that we've seen throughout the years here on our telecasts. Long lines usually look good on this event.
Absolutely, and at 5'7", it makes bars and it makes flipping a little more difficult, but it also makes your lines look so much better. Stalder, right to a Jaeger. I like that we're seeing a lot of different types of release moves. Some gymnasts are doing gingers, others hex. All sorts of things going on. It's nice to see that variety.
Purdell scored 9.70, and Newby counters now for Georgia with a score of 9.8 on the bars. Carly Joniga now for Stanford. The 2006 Junior Olympic National Bar and all-around champion.
Again, another nice Yurchenko full. We'll watch closely and see how much of a block she gets off the horse. It looked like she bent her elbows a little bit. Yep, bends her elbows a little bit. Doesn't quite get the push off that she needs for a nice high vault.
Keen eye by Shannon, just a 9.7. That will hurt them as we see the scores start to develop. Grace Taylor for Georgia is underway on the bars.
And watch closely. This is an exciting routine. Grace, we've, of course, watched over the years on our network. Right here, big Komen each. She pops off the bar, does a front somersault and recatches.
What a thrill, her first ever collegiate competition. And she did well, huh?
Absolutely, she did great. And she is so excited. She talked to me before the competition and talked about how fun it was to be able to compete in front of so many people. She's never competed in front of 9,000 people before.
Yeah, this is just a terrific atmosphere. And Grace Taylor, her collegiate career underway with a 9.9. Stephanie Gentry now from Plano, Texas. And that great World Gymnastics Club down that way in Texas.
And for Stanford to keep up with Georgia at this point, they really need to minimize their deductions. That means stuck landings. And each time they take one of those little steps, it's a 10th off. And with this type of competition, every 10th counts.
Yeah, you can see it as we go head-to-head, back and forth, and compare scores. Georgia very steadily starting to pull away here in the second event of these four. Tiffany Tolnay now on the bars, trying to keep it going for the Gym Dogs.
She has very nice form throughout this routine. Beautifully pointed toes, legs stuck together. She's not giving anything up for the judges. Beautiful full pirouette right into a double front dismount. Very nice.
Tiffany Tolnay, and you would expect on their home floor, the Gym Dogs looking very loose and aggressive and confident. A score of 9.850 for Tiffany. She had a season high of 9.9 a year ago. And we'll be back with more of the second rotation from Stegman Coliseum in Athens, Georgia. Stanford versus Georgia. They rank them at the start of the season, the defending champions twice over, Georgia, on top of perennial competitors and challengers, Utah, Florida, Alabama, also from the ACC, 2 schools from the SEC right there in the top 5, then UCLA, Stanford coming in at number 8, another SEC school, and then the Shannon's pride and joy, the Oklahoma Sooners, number 10. Head-to-head, the Georgia Bulldogs and Stanford to start this new season here from Athens, Georgia, the Stegman Coliseum, 9,000 strong, watching as Nicole Dorada takes her run.
Another big Yurchenko full. These are great vaults in the air. We just have to watch those landings. And really, this is, like we said, the first competition. And if they can start cleaning up those landings as time goes on, they can really make their mark.
This is head-to-head, and back and forth they go. Right now, Georgia competing on the bars, and it's their turn. Katie Heenan. At a 9.925 3 times a year ago in this event.
And Katie has really become such a wonderful all-around athlete. She's very solid on all 4 events.
This Georgia team goes 17 deep. And Coach Jacqueline can mix and match to keep her team fresh throughout the season.
Nice routine, perfect landing. Very fluid throughout this routine. Beautiful straddled Jaeger right there. And finishes off with a nice high double front.
Katie Heenan scoring a 9.90, near her personal high. Here's Tabitha Yim, the All-American from Stanford.
Tabitha gets a nice strong run down the runway. Good block off the horse. Completes her Yurchenko full twist and only has a slight hop on the landing.
But that is a personal best for Tabitha on the vault at 9.825, and they need every point advantage they can get now in the team competition. Kelsey Erickson for Georgia.
Kelsey has a huge release move just right there. You saw how much height she had above that high bar.
This has been a strength for her, 9.950 3 times in her career.
And if you think about it, I mean, that is such an incredible score. A 9.95, only half of a tenth of deduction. See if she can score that well today. That's going to help. Stuck landings always help.
She barely held on, as it were, on the bars at the finish, and doesn't quite hit her personal best, but a 9.9.
And this was a strong performance. It's great to see Georgia doing so well at the start of the year, and I hope that they can keep it up.
Now for Stanford, over at the vault, Blair Rayland.
A little low on that block. You can see she didn't actually get any push off the horse. Kind of keeps those arms a little bit, but she sticks the landing, and that's important.
And just a 9.675 in the team competition. So Courtney Kupets, the All-American and Olympian now for Georgia, the last to compete in this round or this rotation, has a chance to give her Bulldogs a substantial team lead at the halfway point.
And what a lead she could give. How intimidating is it to have a bronze medal Olympian on this event now competing for your college team?
That's a cleanup hitter in any sport. Wow.
She has beautiful form. You really take notice of the difference in her routine from others. She's been working hard. This is a brand new bar routine for Courtney. Lots of release moves. And a big dismount.
Wow, she had a team high a year ago of 9.975 in this event.
Incredible. Completes her first full flip above the high bar.
9.925. Not quite a personal best, but a tremendous score here in this head-to-head competition as we're about at the halfway point. And where the dream began, one of your special segments here in Gymnastics USA with Shannon Miller. She's a good focus, a good topic.
Yes, she is. She's such a great competitor, and she loves college gymnastics. She's competing on the same team with her sister, who's Ashley, the senior, and she's just been having a lot of fun.
Let's take a look back with Courtney Kupets and Shannon and where the dream began.
Where the Dream Began. Presented by GK Elite, the choice of champions.
Courtney Kupets grew up training under Coach Kelly Hill at Hill's Gymnastics in Gaithersburg, Maryland. She excelled in the sport, quickly moving to the top ranks. In 2003, Courtney suffered a devastating injury at the height of her career when she tore her Achilles tendon at the World Championships. She returned only a year later to win the 2004 National Championships and solidify her spot on the 2004 U.S. Olympic team. There, she won a silver medal in the team competition and a bronze on the uneven bars. Courtney, last season, you, as a freshman, led Georgia to their second consecutive national title. You obviously love gymnastics, you love competition. Where did all that come from?
I don't know. I guess I just, I started after my older sister Ashley was doing it and, progressed from there and just did all the different levels. And I don't know, it's just like a passion I have for it. It's so much fun. And jumping over from the elite level to the college level has really, reboosted my love for it. So it makes me want to do it even more now.
What is it? You know you're a gymnast, but you also know that there's hard times. What is it about the sport that keeps you going through the injuries, the long hours of training, day in and day out? What keeps you going for so many years?
I guess it's just when you do learn a new skill, just what you get from it. You work so hard at it and you finally accomplish it. And, as a team, you work together every day in the gym, and then to win a national championship, it's you have that forever. And it's just an amazing feeling. You just try to get that feeling as many times as possible.
You obviously have seen the highest level of both elite gymnastics, being in the Olympics, winning a silver medal with the team. But I know it's also an individual sport, more so in elite gymnastics. How different is it to now be a part of a true team?
It's awesome. It just makes it that much better. Because, you're in a team at the Olympics, but you're just put together. You don't get to train together. You don't get to figure out how everyone else works, how you can help everyone else, and what your actual role is. You are playing a role when you're in a team, and it just makes it that much better when you do accomplish something, because it's not just for you. You look around and you see everyone else just as excited, and everyone did it together. It wasn't just you. It was like a collaboration.
What advice would you give young girls that are facing injuries and facing those long hours and what they call burnout? What advice would you give them to stick with it?
It does get very, very hard, and the one thing you need, you need that positive attitude, and, the one thing that's really helped me is my faith in God. I mean, that's the one thing that's really been able to pull me up there and help me through it, and, if they've never had that before, then, that's what's helped me.
Where the Dream Began. Presented by GK Elite, the choice of champions.
Courtney Kupets, and you'll get to see more of this great All-American and Olympian when we continue. Stanford versus Georgia. We're halfway home, and Georgia, as you might expect, on top of Stanford, but just by 1 point so far. 98.85, 97.850. Now we go head-to-head as we switch to new apparatus. The Georgia Gym Dogs will be competing on the always difficult balance beam, sending out Erickson, Taylor, Tolnay, McCool, Kupets, of course, and Heenan. And Stanford will be on the always enjoyable floor exercise, but sometimes difficult to score. These are their 6 starters. So we go to the balance beam, and if you've been a fan of this program with Shannon Miller, you know what a difficult event this is. And this can often make or break a competition.
It really can, and Kelsey starts out strong with a very nice mount. Very difficult mount, front semi on, wolf jump.
5'5" senior from Cincinnati, Ohio. And they say she's one of the energetic spiritual leaders of this team.
And you could see her drop her right shoulder, and that just put her right off the beam. And that's an unfortunate 5/10 fall for the team. Now, we should mention also that there are 6 athletes competing, but only 5 scores count, so they will be able to drop 1 score, and this is the score they'll want to drop.
And waiting to compete, the Stanford team unlike many multi-team meets in these head-to-head competition, it's one event at a time. So they saw the fall. They know they may have an opening as far as the team scores go.
And of course, it's always difficult to watch your teammate fall, especially when they're first up. And now this puts a lot more pressure on the rest of the team. They have to hit. And for a lot of those new freshmen, they need to be really focused on what they're doing at this point.
Kelsey's personal best, 9.875 a couple of times.
Cartwheel, swing leg, full twist off the side of the beam. And here we can see right here, her drop her right shoulder, and she is off the beam.
It doesn't take much. Half-point deduction cost her, and a 9.375 for Kelsey Erickson. And now Heather Purnell on the floor for Stanford with a chance to make up some big ground. She scored a couple of times, 9.8 in the 2006 season.
Kelly Fee opens with a nice high double pike. And Kelly was a member of the U.S. national team, competed at national championships 3 times. So she is no stranger to tough competition.
And this is a biased crowd, of course. Over 9,000 fans of the Gym Dogs here, and those screams of support here are coming from the Stanford team members who had to, I would say, endure a wonderful presentation before the competition, celebrating the national championship on the big video screen here, about 10 minutes long. They huddled together and didn't even glance up, tried to block it out. It's hard to do, I guess.
A little bit of psychology working for Georgia. We'll just relive the moment of one of our best seasons right in front of the Stanford team before we start. But it was a tremendous year for Georgia and Stanford. I am sure that just made them even more intent on getting to the national championship this year. Nice opening pass. This was her double pike. Strong landing.
So they make up a couple of tenths here, and the first of the competitors to go head-to-head in our third rotation. Now Grace Taylor will try to, so to speak, get Georgia back on the beam after a bit of a stumble. She finished first at the 2001 and 2006 Junior Olympic Championships in this event.
That was a 1-arm back handspring to allow to 2 feet. A very difficult move. You're shifting your weight because you're trying to get on that 1 arm and then get back to center for that layout. Of course, as we've mentioned many times before, the beam is only 4 inches wide, so there's not a whole lot of room to work with. Beautiful one-leg turn right to a gainer layout. A very difficult combination. For her dismount handspring, double full twist. And she has put Georgia back on track after that miss by Kelsey Erickson.
Got 9.8 on the beam for Grace Taylor. And a big roar of approval from the big crowd on hand here at Stegman Coliseum. So now for Stanford on the floor exercise, a 5'4" junior, Alex Pinchuk.
Alex is one of Stanford's top performers on floor exercise and vault, a very powerful athlete. She'll open with another nice high double pike, plenty of rotation.
Stanford has put a high priority in this offseason in upgrading their musical selection and their dance elements in the floor exercise.
And that's so important. So much of the routine is made up of the dance, and sometimes athletes tend to want to focus on the tumbling passes because those are the most difficult, but the dance in between can really make a difference to the judges and, of course, to the audience.
Alex back on the East Coast, now going to school at Stanford on the West Coast, of course. She's from Mount Laurel, Lawrenceville, New Jersey, originally.
This has been a strong floor performance. All she needs is this final tumbling pass. Front handspring, 1.5 twist, right to Shishinova.
What'd you think?
I thought this was a very strong floor routine. She opens with a nice, powerful double pike, perfect position in the air, and she closes with a Shishinova. No chance for steps on the landing, so I think that's a smart move.
She scored 9.8. Now here's Tiffany Tolnay on the beam for the Georgia Gym Dogs.
Tiffany, first team All-American on vault and balance beam and the all-around.
Has a pair of 9.9s to her credit a couple of times in 2006.
Back handspring layout step out. That was the move that was missed before. No problems here. Front semi, back semi. I really like that combination. It's exciting, I think, just for people to watch. Think of trying to do a front somersault and then jump right out and do a back somersault. It's a pretty neat move. We've talked about these leaps and jumps. Each athlete trying to hit 180 degrees or more on those splits. Handspring, double tuck. Really holds on to that landing, trying not to move.
That was a real veteran performance, wasn't it? Very
It really was. You can see this team really come out to play. They saw one miss in the first athlete, and they've decided they're not going to miss anymore.
Hardly a mistake since. Tiffany Tolnay for the Georgia team, an excellent score, 9.850. Now here's Kelly Fee trying to counter for the Cardinal and Stanford on the floor exercise. I like those uniforms, by the way. It looks a little bit like Superman on their chests. It is the theme, actually. That's not an accident. Guess it wouldn't be Superman, though.
Superwoman.
There was a Superwoman, but that was like the 5th edition after Superboy, Superdog.
Yeah, and that's not the right costume.
These really are the Superwomen with great athletes. And, of course, this sport has really exploded with Title IX on the intercollegiate level. Kelly Fee has a season high of 9.85. This performance seems a little bit low in the difficulty level, Shannon. And
well, she actually opens with a 2.5 twist, and I think sometimes it doesn't look as exciting as maybe a double out or a double back, but it is a difficult move to do. It's 2.5 twists around, and so that's going to add some difficulty to her routine. Disappointing. It's going to be tight. We'll have to watch on the replay to see if she touched her hands all the way down on the floor. If she skimmed the floor, it might only be a 3/10 deduction, but touching out is going to be a full 5/10.
You can see the final score. Apparently she did 8.90. Yep, there it is. A disappointing finish on this routine for Kelly Fee and Stanford. And we will be back with more.
Reason number 12 why you should own.
Third rotation, head-to-head, Stanford versus Georgia. The hometown Gym Dogs trying to win their season opener again. Nothing unusual about that. About 9,000 here to see Courtney McCool. Tell us about this young star.
Courtney McCool is an amazing athlete. She is one of the most beautiful athletes that we've seen come out of the U.S. in quite some time. And we actually haven't seen a lot of her lately. She's kind of been absent in 2005. She had a really bad wrist injury coming off of the 2004 Olympic Games. But it's nice to see her resurface right here with Georgia, a top team. And I really think she's going to add to the level of difficulty for Georgia for years to come.
First time ever at Georgia with a pair of U.S. Olympians on the team at the same time. They had dual Olympians, Canada in the U.S., Puerto Rico in the U.S., but never a pair of Americans.
Courtney has such incredible technique. She just gets so solid on these routines. It's her signature pose right there. There has not been a lot of deduction in this routine.
She seems very comfortable.
Nice high double twist, sticking that landing.
Wow.
Beautiful routine.
Wow, what an addition to this great Georgia team already. Courtney McCool. 4 years of this ahead for the Gym Dogs and their fans. And trying to keep pace back to Stanford. They are competing on the floor with Carly Janica. And you can hear her teammates trying to give her support while 9,000 folks in Georgia red sit and watch.
Carly's such a great athlete. I've watched her since she was young and competing in the national championships. She actually won the all-around at the Junior Olympic National Championships. Was a senior elite national.
You get to see all these girls, Shannon, don't you, all the way from 5-6 years and up with all the camps and programs that you do with all these young athletes all across America.
I'm starting to. Unfortunately, I'm getting that old that I'm starting to see them from that age. It's been nice to see athletes like Grace Taylor, Courtney McCool, Carly Janica really grow up in front of you. And it's great to see how much they really love the sport and the opportunities that they have coming from, level 8 and level 9 and moving to elite or going the Olympic route or going the NCAA route. It's just fun to see all the different opportunities that each of these girls has.
As we pointed out, sometimes both the Olympic route and the NCAA route, a couple of them on the Georgia team. Carly Janica here in the team competition needs a good score as Georgia is starting to put some distance between the two teams.
Whip back to a 2.5 twist.
That extra mat there just for a little support.
Yeah, we call that a sting mat. It just takes the sting out of the landing. There's no deduction for having a mat there as long as they don't go out of bounds.
Nice finish for Carly Janica of Stanford.
A very nice routine, a fun routine. And let's see if she did stay in bounds there. I was a little bit concerned, but she did stay in bounds.
And gets a very solid score of 9.85 from the judges. And for her Stanford teammates in the team competition, they're very happy about it. Now we pan right back. As we said, it's back and forth, head-to-head. Very enjoyable for the fans. Courtney Kupets, the great Georgia All-American. She has, on this event, hit 9.95 3 times already in her career.
And series like that are a lot of the reason why. Back handspring, layout, step out. It is so nice to see the level of difficulty in collegiate gymnastics. It's just risen so much from year to year. And now at this point, we don't have just Olympians going into college. They now go from college to the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
There's that kind of level of difficulty.
we're looking at a pair of the super programs here in America. Both ranked in the top 10. Georgia, the defending champions twice over, ranked number 1 going into the season.
Big double back dismount, and Georgia is really paying attention to these landings.
Oh, and look at this. It's a career high 9.975 for Courtney Kupets. Can't get much better than that. In case you're wondering, 10 is still not unknown in NCAA competition. In fact, Georgia did it twice back in the 2004 season. And you might need a score like that here as Nicole Urata takes to the floor.
Opening with a big tumbling pass, pike full twisting double back. And you are right, Stanford has really got to step it up in order to close that gap with Georgia.
They're competing well, but Georgia is really on top of their game. 9.975 for Kupets. That's an eye-opener.
It's a great set to hit at the first competition of the season. I think this is a good opportunity for Stanford. They're coming off, like we've said, a very rough season last year, and this is a good way for them to kind of have a wake-up call.
Yeah.
This early in the season, saying, hey, okay, we have to step it up. This is the best team. This is what we're shooting for.
And came all the way cross-country as well. This is a good learning experience. Any way you look at it, come late in the season, they try to qualify for the Super 6.
And they are not settling down. After they face off Georgia, they go right over, back to the West Coast, face off UCLA, another powerhouse team. Double pike. And that is going to be a tough one to overcome. Obviously, they can drop one score, but that is not going to help them out.
And so close to the end of her routine, her last tumbling pass, and Nicole Urata left the floor.
But I have to say, it's nice to see that she over-rotated a double pike at the end of the routine. I mean, at the end of a tumbling routine, you could easily be under-rotating that skill.
9.20 for Nicole, who has had season highs of 9.925. Georgia with a big chance to pull away now. Katie Heenan on the beam. Her high is 9.95, a career best that she's hit twice.
These girls just seem to be gaining momentum from athlete to athlete, each one more solid than the next. We saw Georgia training the day before the competition, having a little trouble on tumbling on floor exercise. A few misses here and there, but looks like they've come out to play. When the competition starts, they get this look in their eye, and they know that they're out there to win.
All right, Katie Heenan for the Georgia Gym Dogs scored at 9.8. Cleanup hitter for Stanford then, and at the end of this third rotation is their All-American and the Pac-10 all-around champion, Tabitha Yim.
Currently third place on this event at NCAA's last year. Opening with a handspring front double full. Very difficult move. And you can see her veteran status. She knows how to pull out of a skill and keep going so that she lessens the deductions.
Tabitha's career high in this event back in 2006. She hit 9.925 a couple of times.
Front tumbling. these front tumbling skills save an athlete's body. I know I was so happy when front tumbling became the next big thing. It really saves the pounding. And when you're talking about collegiate gymnastics, and you're talking about a big season of competing almost every weekend, sometimes twice in one weekend, that really takes its toll on your body. 1.5 punch lay out front. Very nice.
Well, it certainly seemed like a polished routine from Tamitha Yoon of Stanford.
We'll wrap up the competition for team scoring purposes. Back on the
See her first tumbling pass, she steps right out of it and keeps on going.
And it's a 9.825, and we will recap the scores and see how Coach Yokelin's Georgia Bulldogs stack up head-to-head with Stanford when we come right back.
Reason number 11 why you should own a ThermoSpa's hot tub. They cost less to operate than any other brand.
Well, here it is after 3 rotations, 3 of the 4 rounds of competition. And yes, they have the cheerleaders here for the Gym Dogs of Georgia, and the home team is on top by 1 3/4 points. Back with Shannon Miller, I'm Lou Tilley. Is that too much to overcome in one final round of competition?
That is going to be a lot to overcome in the final round, but one thing that they'd like to do is close the gap between those two teams. Georgia may walk away with it, but they can at least close the gap.
Now the Stanford team will be trying to come back perhaps on the most difficult of the 4 exercises on the beam, and that is the subject of Shannon's Essential Gymnastics. Dismounts, in fact, from the beam.
Essential Gymnastics, presented by Mancino, your premier safety padding manufacturer since 1966.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Essential Gymnastics. In this edition, we're going to take a look at the different styles of balance beam dismounts. With me here today, I have 3 gymnasts from Parkettes Gymnastics, Lou, Gabby, and Julie. They're going to demonstrate 3 different styles of dismounts: the round-off dismount, handspring dismount, and the side dismount. Let's see what they've got. The most common dismount you'll see is still the round-off dismount. Usually a gymnast will perform a round-off double tuck or a round-off triple twist 2.5. Let's take a look at what Gabby has. Next we have the back handspring dismount. Some gymnasts, like Dominique Dawes, prefer this style. Let's take a look at Lou's. We take a look at the side dismount. These seem to be showing up more and more often in major competitions. Gymnasts will swing one leg along the side of the beam and perform a twist or flip off the side. Julie's going to demonstrate a gainer tuck. It's always great to see variety in balance beam dismounts. Now, the 3 you've just watched, those are the most common styles. But keep watching any gymnastics competitions and try to pick out any new types you might see. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Essential Gymnastics. Now, let's get back to the meet.
Essential Gymnastics, presented by Mancino, your premier safety padding manufacturer since 1966.
Oh, they love their Gym Dogs down in Athens, Georgia, and all their intercollegiate athletics. Let's get back to the competition now in the 4th and final rotation. This is Lauren Elmore on the beam for Stanford, and what a tough way to make up points. She did score 9.875, her career best last year, under pressure at the Pac-10 championships.
Lauren, a strong competitor on floor and balance beam, so these are 2 great events for her coming up.
it is head-to-head competition alternating now between the beam and Georgia on the floor. So we'll be able to kind of keep track of the team competition now with every hit or miss.
Well, we talked about closing the gap, and as we've always said, anything can happen. Georgia was having a rough time on floor the day before the competition began, so there's still a door that could be opened.
1.7.5 point lead, and a pretty good performance here for Stanford and Elmore to begin this final round. 9.75, not bad. And countering now for the home team, Grace Taylor in floor exercise. With the support of 9,000 Georgia Bulldog fans in the seats here at Stegman Coliseum.
Whip to double pike. Oh, and an unfortunate miss, and that's where the door starts to open. 5-10 deduction for that fall, and that's unfortunate. Grace was having such a good competition so far. Her first time competing in front of this many people, first time competing for Georgia.
From Aiken, South Carolina, a freshman, and another bobble.
Small bobble, very difficult move, a triple twist.
And again, all the Stanford athletes are watching this very closely.
Closing the routine with a double tuck. Ooh, another fall.
Well, let's see. Go ahead.
That was a rough routine, over a point in deductions just on the tumbling alone.
Now, Elmore had scored 9.75, and look at Taylor, 8.4. So already 1.3 of the 1.75 difference has been erased after just one head-to-head here in the fourth round of the fourth competition. And we'll be back with more from Athens, Georgia, right after this. Well, here we go. They're jazzed about their gym dogs doing the wave. And can Georgia bring it home? Stanford challenging now, really closed the gap there in that last head-to-head round. Stanford on the beam, Georgia on the floor exercise to conclude this opening meet of the 2007 season. Carly Janiga now for Stanford. In the all-around competition, Carly is up there with a 29.35 after 3 rounds, 3 events, 3 rotations.
So far, nice and solid. A little hesitant on that move.
Whoa! That took some talent.
Took some talent to stay on. Gain a layout and just got a little bit off to the right, but she was able to hold on.
I'm talking so much about the team competition, but there are awards here for the individual apparatus as well as the all-around.
And it looked like she was supposed to do a jump right there and decided not to. She looks just a little hesitant on each skill.
Yeah, a little deliberate. I saw it there. And yet, fundamentally solid, yeah.
Double full, sticking that landing.
Carly Janiga held on here and does score 9.6 on balance beam.
And she looked good. She just didn't bring up that right arm all the way vertical like she should have.
Counterpunch. Courtney McCool now for Georgia. She scored 9.9 on the beam.
A teammate of Courtney Capet's at the 2004 Olympics as well as here at Georgia. 2.5 twist punch full.
Catch a piece of the line?
It looked like it. I don't know if her toe went over, but it was definitely close. Front layout, punch 1.5, twist.
The tumbling passes are one thing. These connecting moves, do the women take dance and ballet lessons?
Most of the time, yes. A lot of gymnasts come from ballet, or they take ballet when they start training gymnastics, or at least they work with a choreographer on these routines.
Adds to their suppleness, fluidity.
Courtney is just one of these gymnasts that's so naturally beautiful with her dance. Everything from her toes to her fingertips, everything's always in place.
Very solid landing. Good example of what you're talking about right here. Courtney McCool for Georgia. They need a solid score after slipping a bit.
And Courtney had a couple little bobbles here and there, so they're not quite as clean on floor exercise as they have been throughout the rest of the competition.
And there's one of them. She did touch the line, so 9.775 for Courtney McCool as they hand it back to Stanford after you. Kelly Fee on the beam.
Kelly finished 6th on beam at the NCAA West Regional.
St. Charles, Illinois.
Oh, big bobble right there. She was able to hold on to it, but it's definitely going to be a big deduction. Important series by handspring layout, step out. Very smooth. You hear her teammates screaming in the background, giving it as much support as possible. Completing with a double tuck, a little short of that landing, takes one step forward. Will be a 10th deduction.
So Kelly Fee scoring 9.55. They had chipped into that team lead of Georgia a little bit. Now it's building back again for the Gym Dogs as Katie Heenan begins on the floor exercise. She's hit career highs of 9.95 a couple of times back in 2006 here.
This would be a good time to hit one of those 995s. Opening up, double twist, pike front. Katie's also doing very well in the all-around.
Forming to a mix of instrumentals from Queen.
Good crowd favorite.
Vocals still not allowed?
No vocals. You can have pretty much any kind of music you want, but no singing.
Bulldog keeping time. Look at this. That would be a little distracting to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see that in the corner of my floor routine.
Great camera angle there. Oh, beautifully done, too, right at us. She likes it. Nice, energetic finish.
Great way to pick up the ball. There was some great tumbling by Katie. Here she comes finishing up, and seasoned athlete, she knows to step forward, not backwards and out of bounds.
Oh, well done by Katie Heenan, and Coach Suzanne Jokelin knows it. That's a big one for her Gym Dogs, 9.925. And puts the pressure right back on Stanford. But this is their one athlete who is perhaps capable of handling it. Tabitha Yim, the Pac-10 all-around champion from a year ago, and had a high of 9.975 in this event.
Stanford is going to need some of those big scores.
Oh, boy. Oh, my.
And that's that move we keep seeing misses on and wobbles on. It's a back handspring layout step out. I talked to assistant coach Mike Lorenzen, and he said, this is a great competition. No matter how they do, it's a good measuring stick. They're up against the best. If they do well, that's going to help them out. If they don't do quite as well, it's going to make them hungry for more.
Yeah, a little experience, something to draw on down the road. And for Tabitha Yim, a little bit of a disappointment here, you would think.
And this was such an unfortunate fall. She's done that skill so many times.
9.175, and Georgia with the chance to pull away here as we come down the home stretch. Tiffany Tolnay, who has scored 9.9 on this event 5 times in her career in the 2006 season alone.
Strong with a nice opening double Arabian. Kicked out just a little early, causing those steps backwards.
Just a sophomore. This loaded Georgia team. Grapevine, Texas. Outside of Dallas.
Last year, she performed in the all-around at the NCAA National Championships, helping Georgia to its 7th national title. Grabbing a little bit of rest before her final dismount.
A lot of Texas in this routine, Shannon.
Yes, there is, and it seems to be a crowd favorite. Closing with a beautiful double pike, perfect in the air, and you don't get a better landing than that.
Man, is this Georgia team loaded? Good bulldog. Bring it home.
Gorgeous double pike, perfect in the air.
Yeah, you would think it'd be all candy from here on out for Georgia as they try to bring it home in their opening meet of the 2007 season. The defending national champions on their game. We'll be right back. Leaders are on hand for their gym dogs and 9,000 fans of this tremendous gymnastics program. Watching them come down the home stretch now. Our last competitor, Stanford, trying to knock off the #1 rated team in the nation. This is Amy Precor now for the Cardinal, who has a personal best of 9.7 on the beam.
Handspring layout, step out. Bend those knees, drop those heels. And that is a skill that is just eating these athletes up today.
It's sort of like doing the floor exercise, only on a 4-inch wide platform.
It's a little more difficult, yeah.
Narrows the field.
And this has got to be one of the toughest competitions. Not only are they going up against Georgia, but this is right after Christmas break. They've just gotten back to the gyms. I don't even believe they're able to get into the dorms yet when they came back from Christmas break.
Amy is another Texan from Pasadena, Texas. 5'2" junior at Stanford. Great upside. They don't have a senior on the team.
Interesting dismount, punch front full, and she nails it. obviously a little disappointed with the shakiness on this series right here. Back handspring layout, step out, but she was able to hold on, and she's got to feel good about that.
Yeah, that's the difference between a 9.1 and the 9.6 that she was awarded by the judges, keeping them in the competition. Let's see what the Bulldogs, or rather the Gym Dogs, can answer with as Kelsey Erickson revs it up.
Opening with a big double pike. Her teammates all lined up along the floor exercise, giving their support.
She can go big, has hit 9.95 a couple of times in her career.
And she is not leaving any room for error. So far, I really have not seen a deduction. SEC Championships, Kelsey claimed the all-around vault, bars, and floor titles. Pretty incredible athlete.
High-octane music for the Bulldogs, and they deliver.
For a big score.
Yeah, Kelsey Erickson and the Gym Dogs bringing it home.
Wow, this was an incredible routine. Tremendous tumbling, perfect landings. Here's her last pass. No room for any deductions.
No, indeed, 9.95 for Kelsey Erickson, and barring any unseen disasters, it's going to be smiles all around on the campus here at Athens again to start off another great season of gymnastics for the Gym Dogs. Here's Heather Purnell for Stanford. Last up for the Cardinal here on the beam. Career best is 9.825.
Heather was the team captain for Canada's 2004 Olympic team. She's used to being a leader. And there is that skill, and she nails it. Back handspring layout, step out. Routine. That's a great way to end their beam competition. It was a rough road.
A very positive performance, I would think, for Stanford overall, coming into this very tough venue, and a career high score for Heather Purnell at 9.85. You're right. What a great way to end it. And here you go. Here is the icing on the cake for this great Georgia team. Courtney Kupets. Barring disaster, she should bring it home. Oh, well.
Huge Arabian double front runs right out of bounds. Certainly going to be a deduction, but she's a great tumbler. This will be a strong score as long as she doesn't make any more mistakes.
Injuries throughout her career. But so far, so good in the great career and the young budding star of Courtney Kupets.
Great competition for Courtney today. Just too much power on this first tumbling pass. Arabian double front, and she knows she's out of bounds. But
Courtney Kupets, 9.750. That ought to be good enough to bring it home. We'll let you know how the scores worked out in the team competition as well as the individual when we come right back.
Towns deserve great debate. Out of Bounds on CNA, where great sports minds pull no punches.
I'd say Shockey is a clown.
Fight for bragging rights.
We drop the gloves and we go for the jugular.
Are thrown in the crosshairs.
What is this, first grade?
And sometimes things get downright mad. CNA's Greg Murphy leads the best lineup in sports.
I just read what's in the prompter, Mike.
Out of Bounds, weeknights at 7 on CNA, the Comcast Network.
Well, no surprise, Georgia opens up another season on a winning note, and they enjoy the crowd's adulation. They usually get about 8,000 to 9,000. They've had sellouts here. My first dual meet at Georgia, it's a happening. You know, it's great stuff.
It was an exciting competition, and it's great to kind of have a preview where the season is headed.
Let's take a look at the official final scores in each discipline as well. Georgia finishing on top in all but the beam and floor, but overall 97 to 94, 197 to 194, very solid win, and they're off and running to another run, you would think. They are so talented top to bottom. That's what I can't get over.
They really are. They have so many athletes, and they are so deep within those athletes.
Katie Heenan, by the way, wins the overall competition for Georgia, as you might expect. Shannon Miller is the star of our show, and we hope you'll enjoy us off in Gymnastics USA with Shannon Miller. My name is Lou Tilley. For all of us here, thanks for joining us from Athens, Georgia.